Hello everyone, welcome back. So since ever this news came out from Kenya that Mazi Nnamdi, the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOP, was illegally abducted and taken to Nigeria in 2021 and awards him 120 million naira, right? So a lot of people have been having like sleepless night, honestly. Like in this particular interview, I want you guys to just take a look and hear what this man is saying. According to him, he said it doesn't matter how Mazi Nnamdi was brought to Nigeria. Like the most important thing is that Mazi Nnamdi is facing his trial in Nigeria, blah, 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 blah. And I love what Dr. Peter Anoshike, said or replied to this particular man. Honestly, you really need to listen to this video. Just take a listen.
First of all, take on Dr. Peter Anoshike. Taking a look at the situation of Nnamdi Kanu, it looks like it gets interesting each day. How can Nigeria continue to justify the trial and detention of Nnamdi Kanu when a foreign court has now ruled that his transfer was illegal and in gross violation of international law?
Well, for me, I've told you on this program that it is Nnamdi Kanu that's supposed to be prosecuting the federal government. That the federal government infringed on the rights of Nnamdi Kanu. This position has been confirmed by the Kenyan High Court, and this is also a conspirator. Kenya is also part of this conspiratory, understand me, or illegality, because Nnamdi Kanu was arrested and detained in Kenya. He was arrested, detained in Kenya, handcuffed, chained, tortured for many days before being illegally extradited to Nigeria. And one of the cases that Nnamdi Kanu's legal team argued in court was that he was abducted, kidnapped, understand me, and taken to Nigeria, which the DSS, one of their witnesses said that they did not know how Nnamdi Kanu get into the country, that's into Nigeria. Then how was Nnamdi Kanu found in their custody? Since you did not know how Nnamdi Kanu came into Nigeria, why did you keep him that's in your custody? So the Kenyan government did the right thing. And now it has become obvious that it is federal government that is guilty of this, of the whole thing, not Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
So it is a victory for justice. Understand me? In Nigeria, we don't have we have a legal system, but we don't have a justice system. So a justice system in Kenya has proclaimed justice. That Nnamdi Kanu's rights were infringed upon by the Kenyan government and the Nigerian government. So the High Court in Kenya found the Kenyan government guilty and also found the Nigerian government guilty of infringing on the rights of Kanu.
Okay, well, we now have with us talking about Chief Dr. Emmanuel Nama. He is a social political commentator. Good evening. Great to have you join us on the issues.
Good evening, listeners.
We're just taking a look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu and the latest judgment from Kenya, which says that he was illegally extradited from Kenya. And it looks like the case has been judged in his favor. And the Kenyan government is to pay him some very interesting amount of money as compensation. Taking a look at this judgment, does this judgment not expose both Kenya and Nigeria as rogue states that disregard the rule of law when it suits their political interest?
Well, straight to your question, yes, as the judgment is. As the judgment is. Illegal rendition cases are not peculiar to these two countries. There are cases that happens once a while around political interest holders. For me, I would have wished to look at its implication for the case of treason against KANU in Nigeria. Like we all know, what illegal rendition brings to bear are issues of evidence admissibility, whether or not the courts are going to be following due process, human rights implications, and maybe international cooperation, and so on and so forth. Those are the basic things that we're looking at. The way and manner you pursue a case and the defense you put forward will give us the picture of the result you get from the other end. The Nnamdi Kanu's case, for me, is neither here or there. Governments all over the world will tell you that what matters most to them in circumstances like that is territorial integrity and the fact that everything that becomes a threat to her is held, as it were. But at the outside, this judgment will indeed, like you did say, shows the place of the rule of law and what we call national security.
Zeon, a materials company that continues to innovate. Zeon is a Japanese chemical manufacturer that has produced many world-class materials. And Zeon's challenge
and what we call national security.
Okay, very interesting way to look at it there, Chief. And let me now go to Dr. Anosike. Okay, you're still with us? Let me go to Dr. Anosike. What does this ruling say about the credibility of Nigeria's legal system? If it's relying on an illegally obtained suspect to prosecute a politically sensitive case?
Well, the issue is this, the man in Port Harcourt is talking about that what matters to Nigeria is their territorial integrity. Okay. But Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks person in America, who leaks very sensitive materials, both from the FBI, CIA, and so forth, he ran to different other countries. Understand? America know where he was, but they never give any order for him to be. The American government did not send the CIA or FBI to go and kidnap him. They did not mandate any other country to extradite him. They follow the due process. And this is somebody who needs very, very sensitive information from the FBI and the CIA, which ordinarily should be an act of terror, leaking national sensitive issues. But America, who has the most powerful security in the world, the most powerful intelligence in the world, they did not go to where he was hiding to abduct him. They did not mandate or the country, bring him to our country or we bomb you. Due process was followed. And Kenya had become, as I said, somewhere else, Kenya had become a Judas in Africa. There was a Ugandan opposition candidate that was also extradited from Kenya to Uganda, the same way that Nnamdi Kanu was extradited. So the question, why always Kenya? Why always Kenya? So for me, the judgment has solved one of the problems, that the rendition of Nnamdi Kanu to Nigeria was did not follow due process. Understand me? And that government erred by infringing on his fundamental human right.
Okay, let me now go to Chief there. Shouldn't this court ruling trigger sanctions or international consequences against those who orchestrated the abduction and torture of KANU?
I've said before that one of the outcomes of a judgment of illegal rendition is as it regards to international relations. Beyond that, the fact remains that every nation is sovereign. I want to choose my word very carefully because Nnamdi Kanu has not himself been found guilty of the things they've accused him of. But ordinarily, nobody should commit crime and then think that he will use the law to hide himself. Particularly if it impinges on the sovereignty of a nation. So how nations go about pursuing matters of national security are personal to a large extent. Laws are there quite well, but laws are meant to guide all of us. But beyond that, yes, at international phase, there are what they call best standards. Best standard presupposes that you follow a given process. But again, you and I will also ask ourselves, that same process is seemingly protecting another person who stays somewhere else and keeps on committing certain havoc at another end. Your right to the right to everybody ends where the right of the other person begins. I cannot stay in somebody's house and be stoning you and ask you to free your hand, or ask the person in whose house you are to also fold his hand and not push me out if I'm continually stoning. So it doesn't make sense right, left, or center for me. But beyond all of that is the fact that yes, at the international level, nations have what they claim to call best practice, and so it has implications for both countries.
Yeah, definitely. Consequences. What are the consequences against those who orchestrated the abduction and torture of KANU?
Well, this is Africa. This is Africa. That's the third world nation. Understand? A country that is still at the primitive stage of existence. Understand? So it's not going to have any consequence because the government doesn't even obey the laws. Understand me? The government disobeys the laws that they initiated. So it's not going to have a consequence either on the Nigerian government or on the Kenyan government. Understand? But we are not an island of our own. Yeah. The international community is watching, and they are taking notes. And when Donald Trump called Africa a shithole, he was saying the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Because this is a continent of that's a jungle continent. So it is not going to have any consequence on the part of the government. I say, with all the powers that America has, they did not go to kidnap Julian Assange. They allowed the due process to take its course. Because that's where laws are respected, people are civilized, understand me, and things work according to order. This is a continent of animals, so anything goes.
Let me go back to Chief, because this is really interesting. In light of this ruling, do you believe the international community has failed to hold African governments accountable for cross-border human rights violations? It looks like it's a free-for-all now. I mean, the African leaders are now doing things differently, and nobody is acting as the international watchdog like it used to be back in the days.
sent drones to Palestine recently. Let's be fair to ourselves and stop calling ourselves names because it's very dangerous. Every country has respect for our nations, and we must begin to learn how to respect our nation. Did I throw across Africa, or did Nigeria a shit country? How shitty is America? What has been America's role in Russian and what's the name's war? What's America's role in the current Palestinian war? Who makes anybody actually got to look after the other? We must be very careful the way we call ourselves names. And that's part of the problem we have. You do not, and I said, give you an example. You can't stay in another man's house and be stoning another person. It doesn't happen anywhere. There are two things inside. Either I push you out of my house or you go to where you want to stay and stone. You can't use my house as the stoning point. Laws are not one-sided. Laws are actually general. To what extent was that same law protecting a country like Nigeria, where somebody stays somewhere and is creating problems and killing, naming and destroying things in Nigeria? We need to be very careful how we call names. It's not an issue of being sentimental. Every nation has its own problem, and they are peculiar to them. And Nigeria will not be out of it. While we expect things to improve, this is our country. We must be able to protect it. Yes. America, that supposedly is a super world country, super law-obeying country, went to countries like Iraq and created problems. Which law did it obey? Which law did it follow? I am not saying, and I want to repeat here, I'm not saying that it's very proper to flout your rules, but circumstances are things we need to look at. And I've said that before. A nation's security is, that nation has the right and powers to do everything within her reach to protect her people. And within that circumstance, anything can go. It's a national thing.
So you are backing what the government did under Buhari administration?
If the government thinks, and that's what I want them to prove at court, if the government indeed believes that his actions were a security risk, how they bring him is not a problem to me. But it has to be proved, and that's what I'm waiting for in the courts. It has to be proved that indeed he was a risk. Indeed, he was a threat. So how he came in, for me, is nothing. If he was an actual threat, you can't hide under somebody's roof and be stoning somebody. Who does that?
Yeah, okay. It seems like Chief is banking extreme measures. It doesn't matter how they go about it. Let's not forget there will be a day or two the tables will turn. If talking about the government is being allowed to take extreme measures in situations like this, what now happens? Because now we even see a situation where influencers and so on and so forth are being bullied and arrested without pure justification. So if it happens to Nnamdi Kanu, what is now stopping it from happening to others eventually?
Jerry, Africa, particularly Nigeria, is a shithole country. I want to say it again. Africa, particularly Nigeria, is a shithole country. We are being ruled by beasts. We are being ruled by beasts and not humans. Nigeria is being ruled, governed by beasts. The only thing that separates humans and animals is law. Where law is not being obeyed, that country is a country of animals. And that's what Nigeria is. Any country that doesn't observe rule of law is a country of animals. And that's what Nigeria is. So when somebody say, no matter how somebody is brought in, doesn't concern him, understand me, that shows you the mindset. And that is, so Kenyan government, Kenyan High Court has found the government guilty of what they did. They also indicted Nigeria, saying that what Nigeria did is not good, that the role that their own country played is not also good. I have said it here over and over that Nnamdi KANU is supposed to be the one prosecuting this case and not the other way round. I maintain that, I will always continue to say it. Nigerian government infringed on its fundamental human rights. Nigerian government infringed on its fundamental human rights. What Buhari did now is what he did in 1984 when he sent criminals to go and abduct Obaru Diko from UK. It's the same man, it's the same person. And that's why Fenda called them animals and human beings. So this is a country of beasts.
All right, Chief, definitely I know Dr. Anosike is definitely not having it, but let's just keep the tempers down and of course look at the issues that's on ground, because definitely these are issues that has to do with human rights violations and cross-border politics and of course international relations as it concerns anybody, because it can happen to anybody any time, any day. Okay.
So my people, that is it. I hope you guys had everything they discussed here. This man is so funny, honestly. According to him, he said that it doesn't matter how Mazi Nnamdi KANU was brought to Nigeria. Like, for him, it's absolutely nothing. And the funny part of it is that at the end of the discussion, they went ahead to discuss about Sinfubara reconciling with Wike. So he said that Sinfubara kind of betrayed people that were, defending him. That what Tinubu did by declaring the state of emergency rule in Rivers State, that Tinubu did not follow Nigeria Constitution. Tinubu went against the rule of law in Nigeria. So right now, he wants to follow the rule of law in Nigeria, right? But when it comes to Mazi Nnamdi KANU, it doesn't matter. He can go against Nigeria Constitution as far as you brought Mazi Nnamdi KANU in Nigeria. Have you seen the level of hypocrisy? Have you seen how foolish and selfish these people are? Anyway, you see this lawless in Nigeria, you go touch everybody. You go touch everybody. Now, this particular man is crying because of what Tinubu did in Rivers State, because Tinubu definitely went against the rule of law, which is not good, which everybody's supposed to condemn, as well as how they brought Mazi Nnamdi KANU in Nigeria, because they did not follow the due process. Instead of this man to condemn it, he said it doesn't matter. For him, it's absolutely nothing as far as they brought Mazi Nnamdi KANU to Nigeria so that he will face his trial. This is just the beginning. He go reach everyone. And I love how Dr. Peter Anoshike, replied to him, because sometimes you need to tell people the truth on their faces. Yes. So my people, I bring this update to you guys. I hope you truly enjoy watching anyway. Do wait to subscribe for more updates, share the video, give it a like, and also leave your thoughts in the comment section. I will see you guys in my next update. Goodbye for now.
Welcome to Shamress News TV.